Day 2, back at it again, back at copywriting. This is following my copywriting journey, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, in my first video, I talked about how did I even arrive at the idea of trying to take on the art of copywriting. Well, I run my own business. I run a soil sampling business. Pretty simple. I go out to a farmer's field, I pull dirt, send that to a lab, and then we get recommendations for fertilizer or whatever it may be for product for them to spread, and we try to do it in an economical way. That's the gist of what I'm doing. And I realized in the process of that, I was reliant on everybody else for basically every step of the way of setting up the business, but also running the business. Everything from getting an LLC to getting a logo to website creation, everything. So I started to think of things that I could take on myself and take a little bit more ownership of my company. And one of the things that I came back to was copywriting. I've always enjoyed writing. As a kid, all throughout high school, really excelled in writing, and through college, and even now in my day job, I enjoy writing. It's not a hassle to me. I love the process of it. I love thinking through how can I get something that's really technical or a big idea and really distill it down into understandable bits for other people. So that's how I arrived at this. I want to document as much as I possibly can along the way. And so I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm reading. I'm going to talk about the videos I'm watching, things I'm listening to, and then the things I'm implementing. And then once I actually start to gather some skills, start to put pieces together, and start trying to get clients, I'm going to be sharing how I do that, how I go about that. And then once I get into that, get through my process, I want to show my process of how do I write copy, how do I think through things. And so I want to do this so that, one, for myself, hold myself accountable, but also I want to be able to look back and see progress that I've made. Sometimes it's easy as you make progress in anything in life. It can be easy to not remember what it was like before you knew something, if that makes any sense at all. And so I want it for myself, but I want it for also people who are watching, you who are watching this. I want you to be able to look back all the way back to day 1 as I'm on, day 60, day 100, day 365. I want you to be able to look back and say, it's doable. If you want to become a copywriter, or you want to become better at writing copy, I want you to be able to look back and say, this guy started at nothing, and maybe he has something decent to say by day 365. So the journey's for me, but it's also for anybody else who's following. And so with that, I wanted to share what I did yesterday. I showed it in the first video, and hopefully I don't get a glare here. But this is the Adweek Copywriting Handbook. This is by Joseph Sugarman. This came recommended as I listened to other copywriters talk about where to start. And from what I've read, it is a super helpful place to start. This guy was a successful copywriter. He went on to teach seminars, and people would come and learn from him. And so that's what the book is based on. It's based on his seminars. And I just wanted to give, I'm only 5 chapters in, but I wanted to give a brief rundown of what I'm learning about so far. And one of the things he outlines at the beginning is what makes a good copywriter. And he talks about somebody who has many interests, who has many experiences, or just has kind of a curiosity about life, has many hobbies, wants to know things, like has a desire for knowledge. And as I was reading that, it really encouraged me to keep going, because that's exactly how I am. I start on one hobby that could be completely unrelated to my last one, and then I want to master it. Whatever it is, I want to master it. And then he talks about how you master the one thing, get kind of bored, and then move on to the next. You want to master the next thing. And he talks about how helpful that is in the profession of copywriting, is having all these different experiences, having all these different interests will really help you. And he also says that they're good listeners. So they're people who have a genuine curiosity about people, what makes people tick, what makes them make decisions, things like that. And along with that, he talks about this idea of lateral ideas. So if somebody has a product that's trying to solve a problem, you want to think about things laterally. You don't want to just keep thinking about that problem, but relate it to something that might be different, but help somebody frame it in the right way. I hope I'm getting at that. That's what I hope to implement in my writing. So, like, as an example, I work with farmers' soils, but how could I relate that to human health, as an example? Something that's lateral, but not exactly in the same realm as soil science is. And then he talks about general and specific knowledge. So having a general knowledge of the industry that you're writing copy for, general idea of the products, general idea of the people involved, like the customers that would be involved in this decision-making process, and then having a more specific knowledge of that industry, but also your product, competitors' products, and what will make your customer act. Chapter 3 was just on practice. He says, practice, 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 that it's a mental process of taking what you've thought through, taking your different experiences and putting that down on paper. And he says the first draft is always going to be the worst. He said it's always been bad for him. If he had to publish it, it would be terrible. But he says what makes a great copywriter is what you do between that time of the first draft and that final copy. That's where you're really able to shine, and that's what separates kind of generic copy from the really great copy. And then he goes on to highlight the importance of getting to that first sentence, getting somebody to read the first sentence, but also how important that first sentence actually is. So he talks about how all of the copy within an ad is directly trying to get people to read that first sentence. And then he talks about the importance of that first sentence being simple. So here are some examples. Losing weight is not easy. It had to happen. It's easy. It's you against a computer. So just very short, punchy things that draw you in. So it's almost like this tornado effect of you kind of start to get sucked in by that first sentence. But he talks about the point of the first sentence is to get them to read the second, and then the second is for them to read the third, and then the fourth, and so on. It just keeps going. So you're kind of getting into this tornado effect of you read that first sentence and it just kind of naturally flows into the next and the next and the next, and you want that to happen all the way to the end, and you really want to draw that reader in so that you can influence them to make that decision. Whatever your call to action is for them to take that action. So that's as far as I got in the first reading of this book. And what I'm hoping to implement and practice is short, punchy first sentences. So I plan to look at some ads from maybe some agriculture companies that I work with, but I mean, it could be shoe companies, could be food and beverage companies, and just look at an ad from them and try to redo that first sentence and try to make it as short and punchy as possible. So that's what I'm going to be practicing from that book, probably later today, because I'm going to keep reading it and move on. And then another thing that I'm doing is I got on YouTube naturally, and I start looking for copywriting courses. And one of the first ones to come up was from Copy That. This is it's called the Copywriting Mega Course. It says it's the only course you need to launch your career. No experience required. So, of course, that hooked me in, the no experience required part. They're trying to take you from 0 to 1, build your base of what it takes to write good copy and get started as a copywriter. And so this is a 22-hour course, so I hope one day to break this down, obviously into a much shorter video, so I won't cover everything, but just maybe give a review on what was helpful, what I've been able to implement, things like that. And I want to do the same for the book that I'm reading currently, but the books in the future as well. Just give you all helpful reviews, so that you can either, go buy a book or go watch a video, or maybe not spend the money on it. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do with the books and the videos. But I'm hoping to get a couple hours into this video today. I'm already an hour in it, and so far it's been really helpful. So it's actually been a really helpful pairing between the video and what I've read from the copywriting handbook so far. And so that's where I'm at today. Like I said, I would like to make a video every day if possible. I'm on day 2. Hopefully day 3 is tomorrow, and so on, so that again I'm able to look back. But also, if you have a desire to start copywriting or improve your copy, you're able to look back. If you're jumping on at day 100 of my journey, I hope that you're able to look back at day 1 and see, okay, this guy started with not a clue, no experience, and maybe he has something decent to say by that day 100. So with that, if you want to follow along on this journey, again, you could be somebody who wants to get into copywriting. You could be a copywriter yourself. I would love, if that's you, I would love your feedback. But if either of those describe you, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. Maybe like the video if you find it helpful or interesting. Leave a comment. But also, again, like I said in the first video, I've created a community on School. This just allows us to have more interaction and actually have more of a back and forth community feel. If you're somebody who's wanting to get into copywriting, that's a great place to start. I'm going to be sharing the things that I share in these videos, but also everything that I'm doing. Maybe we could practice things together. And also, if you're an experienced copywriter, I would love for you to join, love for you to give your feedback, your wisdom, your wins, your losses. I would find that really helpful. And you can get access to, I'm going to link the 22-hour course. I'm going to link that in the description below so that you can check it out for yourself. But I'm also going to link my School community below. I would love for you to join that as well. So with that, I will see you on day 3.